Plan. There comes a time in everyone's life when silence feels heavier than words. When you stand in front of a mirror, plan. Not to admire your reflection, but to search for the person behind the pain. You may feel like you're in pieces, plan. You may believe that everything you once were has been shattered beyond repair. But let me say this gently, you are not broken, plan. You are becoming. You see, we often confuse pain with permanence, as if being hurt means we're ruined, plan. As if being lost means we're hopeless. But pain doesn't define your value, it refines it. The cracks you carry, plan, they are not signs of destruction. They are how the light gets in. Your scars are not ugly. Plan, they are the proof that healing is happening, even if slowly, even if silently, plan. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are not the disappointment someone handed you, plan, or the words that tried to silence your worth. You are the breath that kept going, the heart that kept beating, plan, the soul that chose to stay, even on the days it didn't know why. There is strength in survival, even when it's quiet, plan. There is beauty in broken places that grow back stronger. You're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to cry, plan. But please don't confuse your pain with your identity. You are not your suffering. You are not broken, plan. You are still whole, just healing in places the world cannot see. We're taught to fear pain, to treat it as something final, plan, something we must avoid, suppress, or silence. But the truth is, pain is not the end of your story, plan. It is often the moment where your next chapter quietly begins. When everything you once held together falls apart, plan. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means life is clearing space for something new to be built. Pain, though uncomfortable, plan, is not your destruction. It is your awakening. When you go through something that breaks your routine, your confidence, plan, or even your heart, you begin to see the world differently. Your vision becomes sharper, not for perfection, but for truth, plan. Pain has a way of stripping away the noise and exposing what really matters. It shows you where you've been relying on masks, plan, on approval, on the illusion of control, and in that rawness, in that deep vulnerability, plan, you find a version of yourself that is more real than you've ever known. Transformation never begins in comfort, plan. It always starts where something ends. A relationship, a dream, a version of who you thought you were supposed to be, plan. And while that ending feels like loss, it is also the fertile ground where change begins, plan. Pain shakes the soil of your life so that something stronger, deeper, and more meaningful can rise, plan. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And one day, the world will see what was quietly growing underneath, plan. So when you find yourself on the floor, when everything feels heavy and uncertain, know this, you are not broken, plan. You are breaking open, and in that opening, your true strength begins to emerge, plan. The pain you're feeling isn't a punishment, it's an invitation to grow, to heal, plan, to rebuild. Not into who you used to be, but into someone you were always meant to become, plan. We live in a world that teaches us to hide what hurts, to cover the cracks, silence the struggle, plan, and present a version of ourselves that looks untouched by pain, plan. But the truth is, the most powerful parts of you are the ones that have healed from the deepest wounds, plan. Your scars are not imperfections, they are proof. Proof that you lived, that you fought, and that you survived, plan. You don't need to be flawless to be worthy. You just need to be honest about what it took to still be standing, plan. Every scar has a story and none of them are easy. Some came from battles you never asked for, plan. Others from love that turned into loss. Some from moments when life took everything and all you could do was breathe. But you did, plan. You made it, and that scar, that invisible or visible mark, plan, it isn't a reminder of what broke you. It's a reminder of what couldn't. It's your soul's way of whispering, plan. I made it through. Don't let the world convince you that strength means being untouched, plan. True strength is being touched by pain and still choosing to show up, plan. It's waking up with heart attach and still making space for joy. It's knowing how deep the darkness can go, plan, and still choosing to search for light. Your scars are not something to apologize for. They're something to honor, plan, because they mark the chapters where you were tested, and they also mark where you refuse to quit, plan. The next time you catch yourself hiding your story, remind yourself your scars are sacred. They don't make you less beautiful. They make you real. You are not weak because you've been hurt, plan. You are not damaged because you carry memories that still ache. You are strong because you kept going, plan. You didn't just survive. You became someone wiser, softer, braver. And your scars, plan. They are the ink in the story of your becoming. There are moments in life so heavy, they feel like they define you. A betrayal, plan. A failure, a goodbye you never got to say. These moments can feel like permanent stamps on your soul, plan. But let me tell you with softness and certainty, you are more than what hurt you. You are not the pain someone else caused, plan. You are not the silence that followed your heartbreak. You are not the breaking point. You are what rose from it, plan. We often replay our hardest memories like they're the entire story, forgetting that there were pages before, plan, and there will be pages after. Painful moments may shape us, but they do not finish us. You are not frozen in that one memory, plan, that one night, that one mistake. You are allowed to evolve beyond what happened, plan. You are allowed to grow beyond the roles you were pushed into during your lowest times, plan. The most important parts of you still exist outside of your suffering. Your identity is not rooted in the moment you felt lost, plan, abandoned, or shattered. Those were passing storms. And even though they changed your landscape, they didn't destroy your soul, plan. Inside you, there is laughter untouched by grief, dreams that still breathe beneath the surface, plan, kindness that wasn't erased by cruelty, and love, so much love, still waiting to be given and received, plan. The essence of who you are cannot be taken by a moment. It is too powerful for that. So when you feel defined by what hurt you, plan, take a deep breath and remember you are not your wounds. You are the healing, plan. You are not your pain. You are the strength it gave birth to, plan. And you are not the moment that brought you to your knees. You are every moment you stood back up. You are more, plan. You always have been. We often imagine healing as a straight path, a steady upward climb where each day gets better, plan. Each step feels lighter. But healing doesn't follow a calendar or a checklist. It's messy, unpredictable, and full of detours, plan. Some days you'll feel like you've made peace with your past, plan. And the very next morning, you might wake up with tears you can't explain. That doesn't mean you're failing, plan. It means you're human. Healing is not about moving forward in a perfect line. It's about moving forward, even if you wobble, plan. There will be days when you feel strong, grounded, and hopeful, and then, without warning, something triggers a memory, a fear, plan, or a sadness you thought you'd already buried. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like you're back at the beginning, plan. But you're not. Falling doesn't erase the steps you've already taken, plan. A stormy day doesn't mean the sun has forgotten how to shine, plan. It just means healing has rhythms. And they don't always match what we expect, sometimes, plan. Healing feels like walking through fog. You can't see the destination, but you keep moving anyway. You may feel slow, uncertain, plan, even stuck. But every breath, every act of self-kindness, every time you show up when it's hard, counts, plan. You don't need to measure your healing by how far you've gone. You can measure it by the fact that you haven't stopped. Plan. Even when it was painful. Even when no one saw you trying. So be gentle with yourself. Don't rush the process. Plan. Don't shame yourself for still feeling hurt. There's no expiration date on grief, on trauma, on heartbreak. Plan. And there's no shame in still needing time. Healing is not a destination, it's a return to yourself, to your worth. Plan. To your wholeness. And no matter how many times you fall, the act of standing again is proof you are healing in your own brave, beautiful way. So much of what we go through remains invisible to the world. The sleepless nights, the silent tears, the whispered prayers, the way you still choose to get out of bed when every part of you wants to disappear. None of that is broadcasted. But just because the world doesn't see it doesn't make it any less real. Your private battles are valid. Your quiet courage is enough. You do not need applause to prove that you are brave. Sometimes, the hardest thing you'll ever do is simply keep going. To keep breathing through anxiety. To keep showing up in places where you feel unseen. To keep smiling for others when you can't even recognize yourself in the mirror. And yet you do. Day after day, You walk through your storms carrying the weight of everything no one else knows about. That is not weakness, That is strength of the highest kind. We often admire people for the visible, the speeches, the achievements, the victories, But I want you to know that the victories no one claps for are still victories. The day you didn't give up, The moment you chose kindness instead of anger, the decision to stay alive when it felt easier to vanish, those are heroic acts, Even if no one sees them, you may be battling in silence, but that doesn't make your fight any less worthy of honor, So if you've ever felt overlooked, invisible or unrecognized, I want you to remember this, Your courage is not measured by how loud it is. It's measured by how true it is. Every time you stand up after falling, Every time you try again with a heart that's still healing, you are rewriting the story, And even if the world can't see your scars, they are your medals, Not for others to understand, but for you to remember just how far you've come, We live in a world that glorifies perfection. Polished appearances, flawless routines, smiling faces, even when hearts are breaking. And in the middle of that noise, we begin to question ourselves, We start believing that unless we're perfect, emotionally, physically, spiritually, we're not worthy of love, respect, or even peace. But the truth is, you were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be whole. And wholeness embraces every crack, every scar, every human flaw. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to look unbreakable, You don't need to carry strength on your shoulders 24 hours a day. Wholeness is not about having it all together, It's about embracing the parts of you that feel lost or undone, and still knowing they belong, It's about holding space for sadness and still honoring joy, It's accepting that your story is messy and unfinished, but still deeply valuable. Perfection says, You're only enough if you meet the standard. But wholeness says, you're already enough, even while you're still becoming. There is something deeply powerful in choosing to show up as you are, not after healing, not after fixing everything, but now, with trembling hands, with unanswered questions, with a heart that's learning to love itself again. You are not a puzzle missing pieces. You are a mosaic made of survival, softness, and strength. You don't have to erase your flaws to be accepted. You don't have to pretend you're not tired, afraid, or uncertain. Real courage is showing up anyway. Real beauty is found in your authenticity, not your perfection. So please, Stop waiting to feel ready or whole enough before you believe in yourself. Plan. You are whole not because you are perfect, but because even in your imperfection, you are real, you are here, you are enough. Plan. There's a quiet grief that settles in when you start to believe you're broken. It whispers in the silence after loss. Plan. In the loneliness after rejection, in the reflection of a mirror that no longer feels familiar. And in those moments, plan. It's easy to feel like you're beyond repair, like the cracks inside you are too deep to mend. But let me remind you, plan. Gently but firmly, you are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming someone who has known darkness and still chooses to seek light. Plan. Becoming is not clean or quick or always graceful. It's slow. It's uncomfortable. Plan. It's the process of outgrowing who you were forced to be and gently stepping into who you truly are. Plan. It's waking up one morning and realizing that even though the pain still lingers, so does your strength. Plan. Even though you're still tender, you're also wiser. Plan. You're becoming the kind of person who no longer hides her pain, but learns how to hold it with compassion. Plan. You may feel like you're unraveling, but maybe that's just your old self falling away. Plan. Maybe the pieces that feel scattered are not signs of brokenness, but signs of rebirth. Plan. It's okay if the journey doesn't make sense yet. It's okay if all you have today is the will to try again. Plan. Becoming doesn't require perfection, it only asks for presence. And you, with all your quiet effort, plan, are living proof that beauty exists even in the in-between. So don't rush the process. Plan. Don't mourn the version of you that no longer fits. Growth is messy and healing is slow. Plan. But something beautiful is unfolding within you. You are not broken. You are beautifully, boldly, gently becoming. Plan. And this version of you, the one who's rising through the cracks, plan, is already more whole than you realize. So if today you feel like your heart is held together by threads, plan. If you look at your reflection and only see the pieces that are missing, pause, breathe, and look again. Plan. You are not the brokenness. You are the builder, the quiet fighter, the soft warrior. The story is still unfolding. Plan. And you are still the one holding the pen. You don't have to wear armor to prove your strength. Plan. You don't have to hide your tears to prove your courage. Let the world see your cracks, your healing. Plan. Your hope. Because those are the parts that make you real. Those are the parts that make you human. You are not a ruin. Plan. You are a rising. No matter what the past has taken from you, it did not take you. You are still here, breathing, becoming. Plan. Building something beautiful from the ashes. And that is more powerful than perfection will ever be. So walk forward. Plan. Not as someone who is broken, but as someone who is blooming. Because you are not broken. Plan. You are becoming. And that is the most beautiful thing you can ever be.